Everyone, I'm Mrs. Green. I'm back to do another lesson with you. Remember last week when we were together, we did collage where we took different pieces of paper and we put them together using scissors and glue. Today we're going to do something different, similar, although we're not going to be using paper, scissors, and glue. We're going to be using natural materials. I know glue required for this. The artist that this project is inspired by, his name is Goldsworthy. He's a British artist who still works today. He does a lot of what we call land art, where he creates images using things from the environment. And you can learn way more about him and see lots and lots of amazing pictures of his work. Just click the link below and you can learn some more information, but you can also do a Google search and find lots of images. So he goes out into the woods or into a park or into a field, and he finds the things that inspire him around there, like rocks and leaves and branches and different elements from nature. And he takes those and he creates a new design with those materials in nature on the land. So it's really cool to look at. He still uses some of the same things we use in art. He's thinking about color, he's thinking about what value they have, if they're really light or if it's dark, how he can use those to put them together. He's also thinking about line. So some of his images have lines in them. Some of his pieces are circular, what we call radial, because they go in a circle and a radius. And some of his pieces actually go up and out of the ground like a sculpture. So he thinks about all those things. He's thinking about space, he's thinking about line, he's thinking about color, while he's recreating something new in the environment. The thing about these pieces is that they're in the environment. They're made of natural materials and they're left to the elements. So those pieces do not last forever. They're what we call ephemeral, which means that they're temporary. They don't stay around forever. Wind will blow them away, an animal may come through and destroy it. You can think of all kinds of other things that might happen to something in the environment. So they're not pieces that are meant to last forever. What he does is he photographs them. So that's an important part of the process, because if he doesn't get good photo documentation of it, then you'll never know it existed. So that's really where the experience of creating the image and then photographing it. So when you guys are going to make some of your own, I'm going to show you a little bit more about the process, but when you make your own, maybe you can make sure you photograph it. So that way you have a permanent record of something that's temporary, ephemeral. So I'm going to show you guys some pictures of my work that I did, my version of an Goldsworthy. And then we're going to come back here and I'm going to show you how to make one in your own home. All right, now that you've been inspired by looking at some land art, we're going to make some of our own. You, of course, are welcome just to go straight outdoors, but if it's not that convenient, or if you want to play around with this at home before you go out into nature, and then you can do something on a table or on the floor or wherever you'd like to in your home. And you can find, I went and collected shells because I like to collect shells. But if you don't have a shell collection, or a rock collection at home, you may have Legos or some other toys that you can also do this with. Because again, it's temporary. So you can lay out your toys into your design and then take them apart and do something else with them. That's the fun thing about this, it gets destroyed. If you're going out to a park or the beach, or even the trails, two things to always keep in mind. We're appreciating nature, we're using nature as our materials. It's our art medium at this time. But we also want to make sure that we're being very respectful of nature while we're doing that, which means that we do not break limbs off of trees. You find limbs or twigs that have fallen. We don't pick leaves off the trees or berries off the trees. You only use what you can find on the ground. We're not pulling anything, we're not picking anything. And also, one other thing to be careful of is most parks and beaches are pretty okay with you creating little land art pieces there, but some aren't. Some have really strict rules about any changes to the environment. So you might want to check to see if there's any signs prohibiting that. So now once you've gathered your materials, you need to decide what kind of design you're going to make. And looking at your materials can sometimes be inspiring for you. I'm inspired by the fact that these have spirals in them, these little shells that I created. But I'm not necessarily, and I could just create them into a spiral very easily. But I don't think I want to do something radial or round. I think I want to do something linear, like a little snake or something. And so we can play with both of those ideas of having a round spiral that's going in a line. So I'm also going to be looking at what kind of colors I'm finding. So like, see, this one's kind of a dark shade and this one's kind of a lighter shade. Maybe I want the lighter shade facing me. So I'm really thinking about all those things. This one has a combination, so I'm going to rotate it this way. And now my spirals are moving in different directions. So maybe I want to move this spiral in this direction. And I'm just going to keep playing with these things in a line. And I'm going to try and do some kind of pattern with them while I'm making my line design. These guys have a really cool open design. So maybe I want to put them in there in a pattern as well. And I still have my lighter and darkers facing in the opposite direction. I don't know what I want to do with these guys yet. So I'm going to leave them to the side. And I have these little cool sticky things that might actually they could become branches coming off of that. That might be cool. Okay, so let me see if I have another, ooh, this one's big. But it also has that light dark, so I'm going to put them back together. Maybe I want to start going in this direction. I'm making like a little snaky path. And then this guy's small, but he's dark, so I'm going to put him going in that direction. Okay. And I put 4 here, and then I put this open one. So I have another open one, but maybe I want to find 2 more closed to add to that. And this is so much fun because if you don't like what you're doing, it's ephemeral, it's temporary. So you can always change it up, and it's fun to take it apart afterwards too. But again, we want to make sure we're being respectful. The fun thing is if you do this at a park, I think I want this to curve more. If you do this at a park or the beach or in a trail, it's fun to go back and visit every now and then and see what happened. How long does it last? How did it change? And remember, as I was saying earlier, Goldsworthy always photographed his work. That's how he gets it out and around. So don't forget to make sure I think I'm going to curve it this way. Don't forget to be sure to photograph it. And then when you go back, you can photograph it again, and so you can document the change. You can document how it evolves or grows or shrinks, or if it's just decaying, because we are using natural materials that will decay over time. Or if somebody just came by and kicked it, probably by accident, or a little animal came by and added something else to it. It's a really fun thing to try and watch the progress. So see how I'm starting to make my little line design here? And let me see, I'm going to put this guy here. And it's so much fun to play around with and making your, see, I got my patterns, they're fun to look at. I'm keeping my dark and light pattern going as much as I can. I'm going to scooch it back around this way. All right, let me see what else I have. Sometimes when I get these, when you gather your materials, it's sometimes fun to just sort them. Sort them by color, sort them by how, if they're light or dark, so what value they have. It's fun to do all those things too. And that actually helps when you're doing your design too, because then you already have a plan. You already know what you have. I know, and I have all these really interesting things. They're kind of changing shape though. I'm going to go back this direction now. I need a, that's the dark to light because that one has both on both sides. And so I need a light one. Let me see if I have another light one. Oh, here we go. Yay, I have one. So exciting. Okay, and then I need a dark here. Which way are you going to go? It's actually starting to look like a person's head with a shoulder. I wasn't intending to do that, but that's always fun when you can sometimes surprise even yourself. And then this one's going to go this way. And I do encourage you, if you haven't already, to go and look at some more of Andy Goldsworthy work. It's really cool and inspiring. He does things out of ice. He makes things out of, and he still lives in Scotland, so he is a living, breathing artist, as still working, still creating. I'm going to put this spike over here, getting a new spike. Ooh, I have some green glass. All right, and then I'm just going to go on, so on and so forth, until I have the design or my lines together. See, maybe we're going to go in a completely different direction now. I needed a light one, so I'm going to go there. I'm going to change the shape of it so it looks a little less like a person. Maybe it's going to snake back here. So there's all kinds of possibilities with this. All kinds of materials. Oh, look, there's a teeny tiny baby one. I'll put that there. Oh, and here's another teeny tiny baby one. I'm going to put that there. Kind of little punctuations of those little teeny guys. And you can choose to use all of these, or I can just say, hey, I think I like that as my work of art. And it's finished. Or I may continue to add to it. Of course, it's your work, so you get to choose. So have fun with this, and you're going to go out or go in and create one of your own. And then after you're done with that, make sure you photograph it some way, document it in some kind of way, and then come back to see the video again. All right, so we're going to hit the pause button right now. And then I will see you back here after you've created your work. Okay, so now that you've had your fun playing with natural materials and creating your Andy Goldsworthy creation, I hope you had a lot of fun doing it. I hope you continue to do these. I want you now to find somebody in your home or write down how is it different using natural materials versus other art materials? Was it harder? Was it easier? Just different? And how important was it to photograph them? And now that you know how to do this, how many more times are you going to make? How many more things are you going to make with this technique? So happy art making, stay safe, and we'll see you next time.